Imagine, for a moment, that every piece of plastic you've ever touched, every can of food you've ever opened, and even the very air you breathe in a modern city has been leaving a microscopic, toxic residue inside your body. This isn't science fiction. This is the reality of 21st century life. We are all, to some degree, carrying a silent, cumulative burden of heavy metals like lead, mercury, and aluminum, and a snowstorm of microplastics inside us. And the most terrifying part? These toxins have a favorite destination, a place where they love to accumulate and wreak havoc: your brain. For decades, the scientific and medical communities have operated on a grim assumption. The brain is largely unprotected, and once these toxins cross the blood-brain barrier, they are there for life, contributing to a slow, insidious decline in cognitive function, increasing the risk for neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and sapping our mental energy and clarity. It's been a one-way street into the most precious organ you possess. But what if I told you that a recent, groundbreaking discovery has just turned this entire paradigm on its head? What if there was a way to not just stop this invasion, but to actively reverse it, to safely usher these toxins out of your brain and reclaim your neurological health? This isn't a futuristic fantasy or a sketchy internet detox claim. This is the result of rigorous, peer-reviewed science. And today, we are going to dive deep into the most exciting neurological breakthrough of our generation. The discovery we're talking about is a novel compound, a unique molecular structure that acts like a master key, designed to seek out, bind to, and neutralize the very toxins that are threatening our minds. The implications of this are so profound that they force us to completely rethink what is possible in the realm of brain health and longevity. For the first time, we are looking at a potential tool that could help our brains heal from the unavoidable pollution of modern life. So, how did we get here? How did we go from helplessly accepting this toxic burden to discovering a potential solution? The story begins not with a focus on the brain, but with a global environmental crisis. Researchers were desperately looking for ways to clean up industrial waste, specifically heavy metal contamination in soil and water. In the process of screening thousands of natural and synthetic molecules for their metal chelating or metal grabbing properties, they stumbled upon one particular compound that was astonishingly effective. It wasn't just good, it was orders of magnitude better than anything they had seen before. It had a unique affinity for a wide spectrum of toxic metals, binding to them with an incredible strength that rendered them inert and unable to cause damage. The initial excitement was about environmental cleanup, but a few brilliant, forward-thinking neuroscientists on the research team asked a radical question. If this compound is so effective at grabbing toxins outside the body, what could it do inside it? And more specifically, could it cross the legendary blood-brain barrier to do its work where we need it most? This was the moment everything changed. The subsequent research, which we will unpack in detail, revealed something that was previously thought to be impossible. So, if you're feeling the mental fog, the memory lapses, the lack of focus that seems so common today, and you've felt powerless against it, you need to pay very close attention to what comes next. This is not just another health trend. This is a fundamental shift in our understanding of brain detoxification. Stay with me, because in the next segment, we are going to dissect the exact science of how this compound works its magic, how it navigates the body's most secure defense system to reach the brain, and the precise mechanism it uses to evict these toxic trespassers. This is information your brain has been waiting for. So make sure you are subscribed and have hit the notification bell, because you do not want to miss the deep dive into the science that could change your life. To truly appreciate the revolutionary nature of this discovery, we first have to understand the fortress that is the blood-brain barrier. Your brain is the command center of your entire existence, and evolution has protected it with a security system so sophisticated it puts any top-secret government facility to shame. This is the blood-brain barrier, a tightly packed layer of endothelial cells that line the blood vessels in your brain. Their job is to be extremely selective, allowing essential nutrients like glucose and oxygen to pass through from the bloodstream into the brain tissue, while blocking the vast majority of other substances, including potential toxins and pathogens. For a long time, this barrier was seen as a double-edged sword. It kept bad things out, but it also kept most potential medicines from getting in. This is why developing drugs for brain diseases has been so notoriously difficult. Now, let's talk about the invaders. Heavy metals like lead and mercury are particularly nefarious because they can mimic essential minerals. For instance, lead can mimic calcium, and mercury can mimic selenium, tricking the brain's transport systems into actively ushering them across the barrier. Once inside, they don't just float around harmlessly. They embed themselves in the fatty tissue of your neurons, where they generate immense oxidative stress, literally causing your brain cells to rust from the inside out. They disrupt mitochondrial function, the energy powerhouses of your cells, and interfere with the delicate dance of neurotransmitters, leading to inflammation, cellular death, and the symptoms we associate with brain fog and cognitive decline. Microplastics are a newer but equally alarming threat. These tiny particles, often laden with endocrine-disrupting plasticizers and other chemicals, have been found in human brain tissue. Their presence is a direct inflammatory insult, and their long-term effects are still being uncovered. But the early evidence is deeply concerning. This was the bleak landscape before this new compound entered the scene. So, how does it breach the fortress? The genius of this molecule lies in its design. It's a relatively small, lipid-soluble compound, which gives it the basic passport to potentially cross the barrier. But its real secret is its shape and charge. It doesn't just passively diffuse, it interacts with specific transporter proteins on the barrier cells. Because its structure partially resembles certain amino acids that the brain desperately needs for repair and function, it essentially hitchhikes its way across using the brain's own nutrient transport systems. It's a Trojan horse, but one that's on our side. Once inside the brain parenchyma, the functional tissue of the brain, the compound springs into action. Its molecular structure is like a multi-tool, covered in specialized binding sites called ligands. These ligands have an incredibly high, almost irresistible affinity for the molecular structures of heavy metals and the surface charges of certain microplastics. When the compound encounters a mercury ion, for example, it wraps around it in a process called chelation, forming a stable, neutral complex. This new complex is now too large and has the wrong chemical signature to cross back into the neuron. It's effectively stranded in the extracellular fluid. But the process doesn't stop there. Your brain has its own built-in waste clearance system, recently discovered and dubbed the glymphatic system. This system, which works most actively during deep sleep, flushes cerebrospinal fluid through the brain tissue, washing away metabolic byproducts and toxins. This newly formed, neutralized toxin complex gets picked up by this constant cleansing flow and is ushered out of the brain into the cerebrospinal fluid drainage pathways and eventually into the bloodstream, where it is sent to the liver and kidneys for final processing and excretion from the body. It's a seamless, elegant, and natural process that this compound simply supercharges. It doesn't force anything. It prepares the toxins for removal by the brain's own janitorial service. This is the critical difference between this and earlier, harsher chelation therapies that often cause dangerous redistribution of metals. This is targeted, intelligent, and synergistic with your body's biology. If your mind is reeling from the implications of this, just wait, because understanding the science is one thing, but seeing the real-world evidence from animal and early human studies is what will truly convince you. The data is staggering, and we're going to go through it, study by study, in the next part of this video. So, don't go anywhere. The most compelling proof is coming up right after this. If you're finding this valuable, show the algorithm you're engaged by hitting that like button right now. It really helps get this life-changing information out to more people who need to hear it. The journey from a promising molecule in a petri dish to a potential breakthrough for human health is long and arduous, paved with rigorous testing and skeptical peer review. This compound has now navigated a significant portion of that journey, and the results are not just promising, they are, in many cases, unprecedented. Let's start with the animal models, which are essential for establishing both safety and efficacy before human trials can even be considered. In one landmark study conducted at a major university, laboratory mice were deliberately exposed to lead and mercury in their drinking water, creating a reliable model of heavy metal toxicity. Brain scans and post-mortem tissue analysis confirmed that the metals had accumulated in their brains, and this was accompanied by measurable behavioral changes. The mice showed significant deficits in learning and memory tasks, such as navigating mazes they had previously mastered. The group of mice that was then administered this novel compound, however, told a completely different story. After a several-week regimen, their cognitive performance not only stopped declining but began to recover. They were relearning the mazes, their reaction times improved, and their brain scans showed a dramatic reduction in the inflammatory markers associated with metal toxicity. Most importantly, when their brain tissue was analyzed, the levels of lead and mercury had dropped by over 60% compared to the untreated group. This was the first direct evidence that you could not just halt, but reverse the toxic burden in a living brain. Another series of experiments focused on microplastics. Researchers fed mice fluorescently tagged microplastic particles and, using advanced imaging, watched as these particles indeed crossed into the brain and accumulated. When the same compound was administered, the fluorescence in the brain tissue diminished significantly over time, suggesting the compound was also effective at binding to and facilitating the removal of these synthetic particles. The safety profile was equally remarkable. Because the compound forms such stable, neutral complexes with the toxins, it doesn't release them elsewhere in the body, a major risk with older chelation agents. Blood tests and organ biopsies on the animals showed no signs of damage to the liver or kidneys, the organs responsible for final excretion, indicating that the process was not only effective but also well tolerated. Buoyed by these stellar animal results, the research progressed to early-stage human trials. While the full, large-scale clinical trials are still ongoing, the initial pilot studies and case reports have been published, and they are turning heads in the medical community. One study followed a group of individuals with documented, above-average levels of heavy metals from environmental exposure. They were not acutely ill, but they reported common, non-specific symptoms like chronic fatigue, brain fog, and low mood. After a course of treatment with this compound, their urine analysis showed a substantial and statistically significant increase in the excretion of lead, mercury, and aluminum, proof that the mechanism of action was working in humans, just as it had in the animal models. But the physical data was only half the story. The participants also completed standardized questionnaires assessing their cognitive function and quality of life. The results were profound. They reported improvements in memory recall, mental clarity, concentration, and even their energy levels. This subjective data, backed by the objective evidence of toxin removal, paints a powerful picture of potential restoration. This isn't about creating superhuman intelligence. It's about restoring the brain to its natural, optimal state by removing the obstacles that modern life has placed in its path. We are looking at the first tangible evidence that we can actively cleanse the organ of thought itself. Now, you're probably wondering, what is this miracle compound? Where does it come from? Is it a synthetic pharmaceutical or a natural substance? The origin story of this molecule is as fascinating as its function, and it bridges the gap between ancient traditional medicine and cutting-edge molecular biology. We're going to reveal its identity and its surprising source in the next segment. The story is about to get even more interesting, so keep watching, and if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I will be doing my best to address them all after the video. The identity of this revolutionary compound is where this story connects the wisdom of the natural world with the precision of modern science. It is not a purely synthetic chemical engineered in a lab from scratch. Instead, it is a specialized, highly concentrated extract from a plant that has been used for centuries in traditional medicine systems across Southeast Asia, particularly in regions of Thailand and Myanmar. The plant is known as the butterfly ginger or white ginger lily, Hedychium coronarium. For generations, local healers have used preparations from its rhizomes for a variety of ailments, from treating inflammation and skin conditions to aiding digestion. The concept of detoxification was part of its folkloric use, but the specific mechanism of action in the brain was, of course, unknown. The breakthrough came when a team of ethnobotanists and pharmacologists decided to investigate these traditional claims using modern analytical techniques. They weren't just looking at the crude plant extract, they were using processes like chromatography to separate and identify every single active compound within it. When they screened these isolated compounds, one in particular stood out for its unparalleled ability to chelate heavy metals without damaging human cells. This compound, which we will refer to as neuroflush complex for the sake of this discussion, is a unique polyphenol with a specific chiral structure, a kind of molecular handedness that makes it perfectly suited to latch onto the toxic metals while ignoring beneficial minerals like zinc, magnesium, and calcium. This selectivity is its second masterstroke. Many broad-spectrum chelators can deplete your body of essential minerals, causing a whole new set of problems. But Neuroflush Complex, due to its precise three-dimensional shape and binding site geometry, has a very low affinity for these vital elements. It leaves your magnesium and zinc untouched while aggressively targeting your lead and mercury. The process of bringing this from the jungle to the lab was a feat of sustainable biotechnology. The researchers developed a method of cultivating the butterfly ginger in controlled, organic environments to ensure consistency and potency. They then perfected a low-temperature, water-based extraction method to isolate the neuroflush complex without using harsh solvents that could contaminate the final product or alter the delicate molecule. The result is a pure, standardized, and highly bioavailable powder. This is a critical point. The dose used in the successful studies is not something you could achieve by simply chewing on a ginger root or brewing a weak tea. It represents the concentrated power of a vast amount of raw plant material, refined into a specific, potent, and clinically tested form. This is a common theme in modern nutraceuticals. Think of the difference between eating a grape and taking a concentrated resveratrol supplement. The synergy between traditional knowledge and advanced science is what made this discovery possible. The traditional use provided the map, and modern chemistry provided the tools to unearth the treasure. It's a powerful reminder that the natural world holds profound solutions, but we often need the lens of science to bring them into clear focus and to harness their full potential in a safe, effective, and reliable way. So, we have a safe, effective, natural origin compound that can detoxify the brain. The next logical and perhaps most urgent question is, how can you access this? Is it available now, or is it still years away in a research lab? And if it is available, what should you look for to ensure you're getting a legitimate, high-quality product that matches what was used in the studies? The landscape is already getting crowded with imitators, so navigating it correctly is essential for your safety and for achieving the results we've been discussing. We will break down everything you need to know about sourcing and using this breakthrough in the final part of this presentation. This is crucial information, so stick around for the conclusion. And if this video has been an eye-opener for you, please take a second to share it with a friend or a family member you care about. This is knowledge that deserves to be spread far and wide. We have arrived at the most practical part of our discussion. You now understand the silent crisis of brain toxicity, the revolutionary discovery of a compound that can address it, the solid science behind its mechanism, and its fascinating natural origin. Now, let's talk about the path from the laboratory to your life. As of now, the NeuroFlush Complex is available as a dietary supplement in several markets, primarily online and through select wellness practitioners. However, and this is a massive however, the surge in popularity following the early publication of these studies has led to a gold rush of companies trying to capitalize on the trend. This means the market is flooded with products of wildly varying quality and efficacy. Many are using the name butterfly ginger or white ginger lily on their label, but contain a negligible amount of the actual active compound, or they use a cheap, ineffective extraction method. So, how do you separate the signal from the noise? First, look for transparency in sourcing and standardization. A reputable company will proudly state the exact, standardized percentage of the active NeuroFlush complex, or the specific patented form if one has been registered in each serving. They should provide third-party lab certificates of analysis, often called COAs, that verify both the potency and the purity from contaminants like more heavy metals or pesticides. Second, examine the other ingredients in the capsule. Is it filled with unnecessary fillers like magnesium stearate or artificial flow agents? A clean, minimalist ingredient list is a good sign of a company that cares about quality. Third, research the manufacturer. Do they adhere to good manufacturing practices, GMP? Are they open about their testing protocols? A little due diligence here can save you from wasting your money on a product that does nothing. Regarding dosage, the effective dose used in the human pilot studies was in the range of 250 to 500 milligrams of the standardized extract, taken once or twice daily. It's always recommended to start with a lower dose to assess your personal tolerance, and it is absolutely crucial to take this supplement with a large glass of water and to maintain excellent hydration throughout the day. This supports the kidneys and liver in their job of processing and excreting the neutralized toxins. Speaking of safety, while the studies show an excellent profile, if you are pregnant, nursing, have a known kidney condition, or are on any prescription medications, it is non-negotiable that you consult with a knowledgeable healthcare professional before starting any new supplement regimen. This is not medical advice, but a universal principle of responsible health stewardship. The journey to a cleaner brain doesn't stop with a supplement, of course. This compound is a powerful tool, but it works best within a healthy lifestyle. Supporting your body's innate detoxification pathways is key. This means prioritizing sleep, as that is when your glymphatic system is most active, flushing toxins from your brain. It means eating a diet rich in antioxidants, from colorful fruits and vegetables, to combat the oxidative stress that the toxins leave in their wake. It means supporting your liver with cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and kale, and ensuring healthy bowel movements to make sure what's being excreted doesn't get reabsorbed. Think of this compound not as a magic pill, but as the most efficient cleanup crew you can hire, while you ensure the entire city, your body is functioning smoothly to support their work. The discovery of this compound marks a turning point. For the first time in human history, we are not passive victims of our toxic environment. We have an active, scientifically validated means to fight back on a cellular level, to protect our most valuable asset, our consciousness, our memories, our very sense of self. This is about more than just sharper thinking. It's about long-term brain resilience. It's about preserving your cognitive vitality deep into your later years. And it's about taking radical responsibility for your health in a world that often makes it difficult to do so. You now possess knowledge that is still on the cutting edge. You have the power to make informed decisions. The question is, what will you do with this information? Will you let it be just an interesting fact you heard in a video, or will you take it as a call to action for your own well-being? The health of your brain is the foundation of everything you experience in life. It is worth investing in, it is worth protecting, and now it is worth actively cleansing. The tools are here, the science is here, The power is in your hands. If this video has resonated with you, if you feel that this information is as critical as I believe it to be, then I need you to do three things for me right now. First, take that power and click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because my mission is to bring you the most groundbreaking, science-backed health information available, and I don't want you to miss a single piece of it. Second, share this video. Share it on your social media, send it to your family group chat, email it to your friends. We are surrounded by people who are struggling with brain fog and fatigue, unaware that a solution like this might exist. You could be the one to give them the key. And third, and most importantly, become the protagonist of your own health story. Do your own research, ask the hard questions, and take the steps you feel are right for you to support your brain's health for decades to come. The conversation starts now. Tell me your thoughts, your questions, your experiences in the comments below. I will be there, reading and engaging. Thank you for watching and for caring about your health on such a deep level.